Apple made headlines after cutting off Google and Facebook's enterprise development apps that hit the company's own internal applications. The move really demonstrated to a lot of people just how much power Apple has, begging the question, does Apple have too much power, not just over us, but over other companies? And with us now to discuss, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley. So, Dan, I guess like Apple is now set itself up as the standard bearer of privacy and good tech in Silicon Valley, and it's going after its frenemies. Does it have too much power for its own good?
I spoke to a professor, and he of law, cyber law specifically, and his take was they don't have too much power. He said that as far as the issue with Google and Facebook went, Apple was basically just saying, you guys went against our rules, which is their enterprise development program, which allows customers or other companies like Google and Facebook to develop apps internally for iOS. They went against those rules. They, instead of using those apps internally, they allowed consumers to get access to them. So Apple said to them, look, if you're not going to follow our rules, we're going to shut you down. And they did just that. The idea that they have too much power, also kind of leads into the consumer side of things, though, because as far as installing apps on your iPhone, you can only install what's in the Apple App Store, and they're the arbiter of what gets in there. If they don't like an app or they think it shouldn't be there, they won't approve it, and that means you can't get that on your smartphone that you just spent $1,000, $1,100 on. So, at this moment, it doesn't seem as though they are abusing their power, but there is the possibility that they could. They've been pretty good stewards of it so far. They have run into controversy in China last year, I believe. They ended up taking down some VPNs because Chinese law said that you can't use VPNs to circumvent the kind of great firewall that they have there. Apple took some heat for it, but they said that the reason why they did it was because it was Chinese law, and they would do the same thing in the U.S. for U.S. law. So, I mean, there's the possibility that they could have too much power, but so far they haven't shown any signs of abusing it.
So one of the things when you think about any monopolistic tendencies at Apple, and maybe this could be an example of how they are so powerful, there's other cases where they're struggling, and they would point to those to say, like, hey guys, we're not, impenetrable, we're not invincible. And an area to look at is the smart speaker, because they are really struggling there to grab market share from Amazon's Echo and also from Google Home. There was a new analysis out from consumer intelligence research partners that Apple's HomePod makes up only 6% of the 66 million units in the U.S. With it so meager compared to Amazon and Google, what are they going to do? Should they throw in the towel here?
I think they have to lower the price significantly on the HomePod. It's way more expensive than an Amazon Echo, way more expensive than Google's Home. I think that if they want to seriously compete here, that's the basic thing they have to do. Beyond that, they have to improve the intelligence of Siri. If you look at Amazon's Alexa, if you look at Google's Home and Google Assistant, they just perform better than Apple's Siri. And Apple's HomePod, don't get me wrong, sounds fantastic. It sounds better than a standard Echo. It sounds better than the Google Home. But the sound is only going to get you so far as the broader consumer market. Really, heavy audiophiles, they might lean towards the HomePod because of the sound quality. But on the other end of the spectrum, you have Sonos and the Sonos One, which runs Amazon's Alexa and Google's Assistant. So there's just too many other options out there that can play with Assistant and Alexa. And for Siri to just be on one device, it really behooves Apple to drop the price on the HomePod if they want to compete at all.
Maybe they should just give it away. Dan Howley from our newsroom. Talk to you soon.